All right, then let's speak to the person who spoke to the minister earlier on, the former minister that is, and my colleague SABC News reporter Abra Barbier joins us now and standing in with the latest for us. Abra, thank you so much. Just talk to us about, just the interesting names, on that MK party list, including, of course, the party's now parliamentary leader, former Judge President of the Western Cape High Court. I mean, what were some of the highlights?
uNati, good afternoon. Do you know what? It was actually a highlight for me seeing Zizi Kodwa as I walked into the Good Hope Chamber. Myself and my colleague Sihle Mkhize, we were walking in with our equipment ready to, set up for the crossings. And I spotted him getting out of a car, and then I started running after him because just before that, I had had conversations with other colleagues about whether we were going to see him today, because there had still been quite a bit of uncertainty around that. I mean, there were complaints from within the party and from outside about him being sworn in today in light of everything that has happened with him in the past few weeks. So when I saw him, I ran up after him and I asked him, can I get a soundbite from you? And initially he said no. Later on then we basically door-stopped him. We went over to him and obviously he had no option but to speak to us. And that's where he didn't really give us much information, as you heard. He was basically passing us over to the ANC structures to get the answers that we wanted from him. He did say he wasn't at the swearing in on the 14th because he had a family emergency to deal with. And then in terms of other MPs, other interesting MPs we saw today, Des van Rooyen, former finance minister in his full army fatigues, wearing his camo outfit. He was quite reserved, quite undercover. He saw me taking photos of him and then I saw him sort of ducking and moving away. So I think he wanted to be a little bit obscure. And Dile Mtama, former EFF MP, he was also there today when I asked him, so what's your plan for being an MP? And he said something along the lines of, I forget the exact words, but something along the lines of, yes, we're going to, cause ructions, we're going to cause a little bit of trouble just to keep everybody on their toes. That's the implication that he gave me, but he was in very good spirits. Former public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane, her husband came over to me to call me to order because in my initial crossing I noticed her walking past me and I referred to her being there, saying that she's there to support, but I didn't clarify who or what she was there to support. And he came to me afterwards saying to me, please, if this gets to Twitter, people are going to start talking. She's not here to support the party. She's here to support me, her husband. So he just made it very clear to me that she was there to support him as her spouse being sworn in today. So yes, those were some of the interesting faces that we saw. Obviously, former President Jacob Zuma's daughter was there as well. She was also kept to herself very much in the background. They did mention that, she told one of our colleagues that there would be a press conference later, but she of course wasn't part of that press conference. It was led by the party parliamentary leader, Dr Hlophe. But today is just the tip of the iceberg, I think, in terms of interesting times and interesting day, because going forward, Dr Hlophe made it very clear that they are the official opposition in Parliament now. So it's going to be an interesting ride for all of us here at Parliament. uNati?
And Abra, of course, we will unpack further what Dr. Hlophe said earlier in that media briefing. And of course, later on, he spoke to our colleague, Bulelani Philip. So interesting developments in Parliament today, Abra. Thank you so much for that. Of course, that was Abra Barbier there for us in Parliament, just looking at some of those interesting developments that are happening.